Have you ever watched a movie scene and felt like crying? Even though there's not much going on, it's not the acting, it's the music. It's messing with your feelings, it's smarter than you think. And let's get into it. Think about the last time you watched a movie and it made your heart race, gave you chills, or left you in total silence. What do all of these moments have in common? It's the music. Music isn't always just background noise. It's sometimes put there to make you feel a certain way, sometimes guide you what to focus on, or in some cases, just lie to you. Today we're going to break down exactly why music in movies matter and how it works under the surface. Stick around till the end of the video because at the end you'll never watch a movie the same again. Back in the early days, movies didn't even have sound. I'm talking full-on silent movies like this. But they still had music. In the 1900s, theatres used to hire a pianist or sometimes full orchestras to play live music during movies. I mean, the goal was probably to cover up the sound of the projector, but more importantly, to help the audience feel the story. Because they obviously couldn't hear anything. No dialogue, no problem. Just a dramatic piano chord like this just told you that someone was in trouble. And a soft melody like this meant things were going romantic. Even 100 years later, the goal is still the same, and the tradition's still alive. Obviously, some of the instruments have changed, but the job is the same, to guide the viewer's emotions. Music doesn't just set a mood, it literally changes how your brain processes what you see. A study from the University of Southern California found that playing suspenseful music raises cortisol levels. Basically, your brain's starting to prepare for danger, even if the screen's showing something totally calm. Another experiment showed the same video clip with two different sets of music. When played with happy music, they seemed to think the characters were in love. But when played with sad music, they seemed to think something tragic had happened. Nothing in the scene had changed, just the soundtrack. And that is how powerful it is. Your brain is constantly looking for emotional cues. But if the visuals are vague, the music can just step in and say, feel this. Have you ever wondered why John Williams that scored all these films? You ever wonder why it gets stuck in your head? It's not an accident, it's science. When a melody repeats or resolves, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical. And that's why more often than not, scores often repeat themes. There are a reason these tricks work. Our brain loves patterns. Your brain will start to remember them, then start predicting them, and when it's right, instant satisfaction. Neuroscientists have found that music activates the same reward centers in your brain as food. And I mean, that's probably why I love music. But that's how deep the emotional hit is. The music's actually doing something to your brain. Let's talk about leitmotifs. This is basically a fancy word for music that's attached to a certain character, or idea or place. And when you hear it, you know exactly what's coming. Star Wars is full of these. Darth Vader's Imperial March shows up even before he does. That deep brass is a warning. And Yoda's theme's soft, wise and playful just like him. And in Lord of the Rings, every single race has their own music. Hobbits, elves, orcs. You can literally hear them before they're on the screen. And this is where I'm saying music isn't the background, it's sometimes the narrator. And the music is acting like a second script. It's sometimes telling you the things that the characters aren't telling you, and the things they aren't saying out loud. It's not supporting the story, it's telling the story. Further on that, music says more than words ever could. Think about this. The opening of Up. There's no dialogue, there's just music. A montage of Carl and Ellie's life together. You'll literally have most of you crying in the first 5 minutes of the film. Why? Because the music alone has walked you through love, loss and grief without even saying a single word. Words can tell you what's happening, but the music can tell you the deeper meaning. Good direction and cinematography doesn't always make a great movie. If there's no music, it's like dancing without a beat. You don't feel the rhythm. In Whiplash, the jazz music isn't just the soundtrack, it's the pressure, the tempo, the literal heartbeat of the main character's mental breakdown. Music can set a pace, slow it down and the time stretches, speed it up and your pulse races. It doesn't just match the action, it sometimes becomes the action. Okay, but music can also trick you. In American Psycho, Patrick Bateman literally murders someone to Huey Lewis. The music is upbeat, but the scene is terrifying. The result of this, you end up laughing, but then you feel weird about laughing. It's like emotional whiplash. Jordan Peele's Us. He turned the fun 90s hip-hop track I Got 5 on It into one of the creepiest horror themes ever. Now this is called tonal contrast. When happy music plays over dark sequences, or vice versa, it catches you off guard, but also makes the scene unforgettable. Now, not all movies and scenes need music. Here's the power of silence. It's not an absence of music, it's used as a tool. Here's one example. In A Quiet Place, silence is everything. The audience become hyper aware of every single sound in the movie because the characters are living in fear of sound. Like, imagine this scene if this song was playing on top of it. When used right, silence screams. It creates a space for your brain to fill in the gaps. And sometimes what you imagine is scarier or more upsetting than any music or sound could have been. Music is still one of those things that will just never lose their power. Whether it's these screechy sounds from 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or the weird synthwave vibe from Drive. And just strip it away and you're watching silent gestures. Most of the time we don't even notice the music. It's just like emotional background radiation. But once you do notice the music, you start to see that invisible hand, that music behind every scene, and it'll change the way you watch these movies. Music in movies isn't extra. It's not the cherry on top. It's the emotional engine underneath everything. It tells you what to feel before you even know what's happening. It lies, it comforts, it scares, excites, and wraps the whole story up in a way that dialogue couldn't. Next time you watch a film, try this. Close your eyes during a scene and just listen. I promise you now, you'll hear the real story being told. And if that blew your mind, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.